Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world. Tomasi says hello. This is a good day because we're almost done with this model. I think we need to build a display case or something to protect it, and at the same time we'll build a display case for the HMS Bounty over there. But I started this morning on finishing up running rigging, and I got to a point where there's only 2 blocks that aren't being used, and 1 extra hole on these blocks up there. So I might make up something just to go there. But as far as the instructions go, the flag is going to use up some baling pins over here that weren't in the original construction. You know, I think these baling pin racks were part of the laser cut walnut sheet. I don't remember making those, but so I had one that I had started to make a long time ago on the other ship, and it just needed to be cut on the ends to go in here. The one in the instruction only shows a rack to hold 2 pins, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 pins left, and only 2 empty ones on the main racks. This rack in the middle is full, so I figured I'd use the rest of what's up here. And those holes were already drilled in the piece that it was just part of a long walnut plank. It had a groove cut in the back of it, and because that groove was there, I said, oh, this is the wrong board, and I made a new one for whatever ship it was for originally, and just stuck this one up in the stockpile. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that one. Just cut it to fit in this area with the pinholes that were in there already. And I drilled a 1mm hole in the middle of it, and then a hole in the side of the ship there, and went ahead and put a piece of this brass wire in between them so it acts like a fastener while that glue dries. And the plans show those 2 baling pins for hoisting the flag. So I got the flag folded and stuck together because it comes on a piece of sticky back paper. Got it off of that paper, and then before I took it off of there, I used these are sort of smooth on the outside all the way around. I used this as a varnishing tool, and I varnished that line where the fold was supposed to take place while it was still stuck on the release paper. And that helped me fold it without messing up the misalignment. So now I just got to cut this trim off the edge, which the instructions show you're using an X-Acto knife for that, and I'm just not real good with X-Acto knives to be, without going into this black line. It's so easy for that knife to go changing directions, and even if you got a ruler as a guide, it'll still give you problems. So I'm cutting it to leave the black outline, because that's everywhere except for the crease where it's folded. It's probably on the crease too. No, I don't think it is. So anyway, this is the last step in the instructions, and the block and tackle that I've added up on the top, and I put the finial on up top, and a block up there for hoisting this flag up and down. I just got to think about logically, when you're down here on the deck, you want to lower the flag, and considering they wanted me to use a little short piece of rack and some bailing pins, so I'm going to sort of logically figure out what I would do if I was having to hoist the flag up and down that mast without getting tangled up in all those other ropes. And put the rigging on there for this flag. As far as the instructions go, we can call it done. But I'm not done, because I want to add loops of rope for all the bailing pins, and as I putz around with that, I'll probably come up with other things that I should add, like I do on a lot of my builds. I will go above and beyond what is normally sometimes my own invention of what I think it should be, but it's not in the instructions. And that's the cool thing about being a model builder, whether you're working on trains or airplanes or hot rod cars, or you try to do it authentic as possible, but you are the creator of that finished object, and you can make it however you want, whatever color you want. And I do that a lot with my builds, so don't get mad at me if the rope is going somewhere it's not supposed to, because I just wanted to. I'm not gonna mess with that anymore. And the picture on the box looks like the red's on the bottom. So we want to lace a hoisting rope in this flag, and I'm thinking how I want to do that. Yeah, I got enough of this good thread left. I saved it for a rainy day. I almost need some kind of grommet in the top and the bottom of this. I ain't got nothing that little. So I just punch a hole through there with a needle, I guess. Why not? I haven't used any needle and thread on this job because I've been using this thing right here, and it works really good for the blocks and the rigging and places where you can't just stuff that thread through there, and it's a lot more convenient than a needle. But in this case, it's probably not going to work because there's no hole. So what did I do this week? Everybody wants to know. Because I'm always doing stuff. I better be careful, I dump them all over the place. So this week, I worked in the greenhouse, taking up the mulch along the edge of the sidewalk in there, between the sidewalk and the big planting beds. I took the mulch up, scraped it out of the way, and pulled the weeds and all that, and I put cardboard down, and then put the mulch back on both sides of the sidewalk. So, trying to help my wife with the weeding issue in the yard. That was one of the last areas that we needed to do. And then the other thing I did this week is sand and polyurethane bench that I've got on the back porch. That's one of, I think I made 6 of them, but one of 6 benches that I built for my daughter's wedding when she got married. And it's the last one left unless they got one. I sold 4 of them, I think. She didn't want them in garage sales. That's definitely through the corner. I think I should tie a knot there and then have another one down here. One for lifting. And then another, I know it shows 2 ropes. Another one for pulling it down. Yeah, let's do that. We could put this back there. Mossy's up underneath the workbench. So if red red's on the bottom. This would be the top, so I'm going to let a cinching of the knot face up, which means that the tail needs to face down and the knot is pulled tight like that, because white is on the top. I better check that over here, right? You dirty rat. That makes it look like red's on top. Oh my goodness. Red's on the bottom. For sure, right there, yeah. Okay. Can you guys still see? I don't need to be zoomed in so much. That because we're almost done with this build, I'm setting the camera back away from the work a little bit and showing off my beautiful face, my ugly face. Most of the time when I'm filming, I don't show myself at all, because you guys don't care what I look like. Whatever. So we're going to make that go through the block and down, and then the other side of the flag where it ties off will just go straight down. Yeah? So we'll make this long enough to tie off to a paling pin. And then hopefully, yeah, we got enough on the end of that roll of thread for running rigging. And we want to tie that on the flag before we go sticking it way up there in the air where I can't work easily. I get out away from my workbench, standing up and all that mess. I have a hard time holding my hand still. Old man's shaking and so the other thing in the kit, leftover parts in the kit, I want to go through that too and see what I'm missing or what I missed. See if there's anything else I can do that I should do or whatever, and decide whether or not to do it, because I haven't done a final check over here. Alright, that looks good for going down. What else did I do this week? I did something else. Because it's Friday again, and I went to Bible study this morning again, just like last week. Thursday I sanded and painted that bench. Oh yeah, that's right. Monday and Tuesday I spent doing the greenhouse because I did one half one day and the other half the other day, and then it was so hot. Yeah, I quit about 11 o'clock. I don't know if you can see up here or not. If you care to see up here or not. All right, hoist away. So, in order to make that flag, I really need something to hold the bottom part. What did I do on that one? Looks like I just glued it to the mast. What can I do there? My sticky thing's coming apart on the end there. Well, the flag just went all the way to the floor. Alright, let me think about what I can do for the bottom part of the flag to make it stay straight up and down. How close can I get without the camera being in the way? Now there's my little loop. I'm going to try the big tweezers so I can reach in there. Okay. See that knot? Voila. Keep that tight with a counterweight. And then put a little dab of glue on there left-handed. Alright. So that takes care of the flag. So I don't know if you can see this here, but to alleviate the floppy flag problem and still be able to raise and lower the flag, I bent that little piece of copper wire like a fork and let it stick out enough where it's keeping the flag straight up and down, and it doesn't let it roll around under, you know, to the side of the mast. So, okay. That being the last see over there, I added more than 2. And after that, there's nothing but blank lines. Yeah, that's where it's telling us to add them. That rack and so there is 2 ropes here that I didn't quite understand. I looked at it more and more and more, and I finally figured it out. And they got a blue one on the left and a yellow one on the right, and they're just tying off, it looks like, at the top below where the flag would be. And then they go down through the arm on that top crow's nest, and it looks like there's a yellow in the background and a blue in the foreground, and then a red over here and a green. So I'm gonna make 4 more ropes after I very carefully, why didn't they show me that before, so we could have drilled a hole in there? I don't know. But it shows it going through a hole in the end of that arm. I know the hand drill is going to be very cumbersome, because when you're pushing, it can be easy to break that arm off. So I'm pushing harder than I want to. This will walk right through there, but the hole is going to be crooked, so I can't get in there straight without a drill bit a mile long. So I don't know, maybe we'll forego that, I don't know. But that came down and filled up the last of the baling pins on that rack there. And there is 4 of them left. So yes, I need to fill them up. I will do it somehow. I will do it. So that's it for this week. We did finish up the running rigging. I wouldn't consider these last 4 running rigging, because they're not moving any sails or yard arms. They're more of a climbing rope or standing rigging, being from up here through that and then down to a baling. What would you do with that? If you know what that is for, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching.